Well, good morning, everybody. Time for that fresh cup of coffee and oh, head into this beautiful Monday. Well, it's April 13th, the day after Easter. Well, always reminds me of John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And as one of my favorite channels loves to say, always remember the tomb was empty. And we'll cover that. I got a little bit for you today. Um, been some interesting discussions going on. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm Ron Neitzel, author of the Green Wizard's Guide. And no, it's got nothing to do with wizardry. It's got everything to do with organic farming and organic gardening and organic yard care. Uh, when we start talking about old books and we start talking about passing on wisdom, the weekend has been pretty confusing. For a lot of us as we're dealing with this 2020 issue. I ran across some information that Michigan is now banning gardening, and they're giving multiple excuses. But I'm also hearing that dairy farms are being told to stop production, dump their loads. Truck drivers are being told to dump their loads and light them on fire, and these are some hard times we're getting into this year. And these are the times that a lot of us are stuck at home with our children, wondering what to teach them and what to read them and what to do. Well, in my world, it's yard work and gardening. Nothing can calm the spirit more than getting to understand and getting to know chores and gardening and the incredible benefits that come from giving children responsibility, whether it be for a garden, a pet, what have you. And some of these things that I've written about in the Green Wizard's Guide are all doable at home. We talk about the soils, and so many people, they come to me with clay conditions, and it's a misunderstanding. And our children need to be taught better. Our children need to have a better understanding of the world that we live in and how things work. You can't change oil in a car if somebody doesn't show you how. And as Mountain Crest Farms pointed out this weekend, and I've linked the video below, so it's hard to get to these channels now. Something has changed in the YouTube algorithm. Uh, so please go visit the channels I've got listed, and let them know the Green Wizard sent you. These channels all have my book. They all know who I am, so it's not going to come as a surprise to them. But yeah, these soil conditions that everybody wants to harp about and gripe about, we have nothing but time on our hands right now. It's up to you. It's up to all of us to make that change. You wanted a better yard. If you only had time, well, now you have the time. Is it excuses? A good friend of mine Jason, Jared, his brother, has moved to Oklahoma and is building a tiny home by himself for the most part. Some circumstances in his life have stepped up. Here's a man who could have 1,001 excuses for the circumstances that he's gone through. And yet, there he is, not letting a bit of daylight get by him without being busy doing something to improve and better his circumstances in his life. My hat's off to him. He hasn't had the chance to apply the gardening side of it yet. He knows the importance of a garden. He grew up in Texas, but he's kind of the one that started this off this weekend, as the link to Mountain Crest Farms will tell you. He pointed this out. We all have that little bit of light. Don't hide it under a bush. There's a parable I love referring to. Mathew 13, 1 through 9. The same day Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea, and a great crowd gathered around him. So he got into a boat and sat there. And the whole crowd stood on the beach, and he told them many things in parables, saying, a sower went out and sowed. And as he sowed, some of the seed fell on the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell on the rocky ground, where they had not much soil. Immediately they sprang up, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no roots, they withered away. Other seeds fell upon thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them out. Other seeds fell on good soil and brought forth grain. Some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. You have the ability, and as the parable states, it's instruction, it's knowing, it's being in the know, it's having that information. A lot of this information has escaped us, which is why I spent the time, 5 years, to put this information down in an entertaining way for children from 10 to 90, and everybody benefits. It's weed-free gardening, friends. It's understanding what is good soil and how to get there and how to do it with what you have at home. We're not talking about rocket science here. Yeah, I did the book for the rocket science part, and oh my God, I even fell asleep. It was so bad. 500 pages later, and I had a manual, all right. Oh God, it was terrible, absolutely terrible. And that's just not for me. So many people want to come back and say, hey, I can't this, I can't that, because of this or because of that. Another friend of mine, Stony Ridge Farmer, over at Stony Ridge Farms, has 200 acres loaded with stone, and it's a bad area. And yet he's farming there. He's starting with cattle, and he's starting with, because he didn't let a bit of daylight get by him, that he's not doing something, even in these times that we are currently facing. He is out there every day at the grind, doing what needs to be done to have a successful farm. And you're going to find many, many channels out there are still at it. Yet, why would you sit? Why would you let time slip by? Are you expecting that because you wish it, all of a sudden you're going to have a productive garden in your backyard because you wish it? Or because what? The government has you convinced that, well, you need it. We'll take care of you and we'll come plant it for you and we'll come do what needs to be done and we'll do it the way you wish and be organic and be chemical free and make the changes that you wish in your yard because that's just what we do. That's what our government is all about. You know, a lot of us in this time need prayer. You know, you don't have to say it out loud. You don't necessarily need to be the one to say the words. He knows what you need. And it can all be provided. The Israelites roamed the desert for 40 years for a reason and for a purpose. And it was a small desert. And there were lots of them. But with 40 years, the sick, the lazy, what have you, would fall away. And only those that deserve. You know, we've heard a lot of different things over time. And we don't know what is right at this moment. We don't know what's going on. And the only one that can help you is you. The only one that can make those changes is you. You know, if you want to take a moment, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth that is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. We, as a nation, have to make the changes. We, as a nation, need to face this evil head on. Start at home. Make those changes at home. The Green Wizard's Guide is here to help you. These channels I've mentioned are here to help you. You know, they're sharing their life story and their information with each and every one of us. It's up to you. You know, the Green Wizard's Guide is available on Amazon. You can have it instantaneously on notepads and nooks and all the other different what have yous. You can get it in the original format, the paperback, where there are helpful things in there to work alongside my channel that you can add notes and not hurt the book and not be detrimental to the book by writing in the book. I've left space. You know, you can even find it on Walmart.com. It's becoming so popular. It's at Barnes and Noble. This is a worldwide push. You know, a very important member of our society who has passed had some great things to say, and I'm going to end on that. But it's all something to think about. It's all important. It all needs to be heard and it all needs to be said. I'll talk to you, my friends.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. I need somebody with arms strong enough to wrestle a calf and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to call hogs, tame cantankerous machinery, come home hungry, have to wait lunch until his wife's done feeding visiting ladies, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon and mean it. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painting from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God had to have somebody willing to ride the ruts at double speed to get the hay in ahead of the rain clouds and yet stop in midfield and race to help when he sees the first smoke from a neighbor's place. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk and replenish the self-feeder and finish a hard week's work with a 5-mile drive to church. Somebody who'd bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.